OpenAI launched the future of video, Disney attached more than 200 characters, and a planned $1 billion investment. And 6 months later, Sora was dead. Disney did not simply become a victim, it helped make the bet enormous. OpenAI made the final decision to pull the plug. But it was Disney that turned an unproven product into an impossible promise. Two of the most powerful companies on Earth validated each other before a single user validated the product. And what that escalation cost both of them is a warning the entire industry is still trying to understand. On February 15th, 2024, OpenAI released a series of short, high-definition videos generated entirely from text prompts. A photorealistic stylized papercraft world, a prompt-guided stylish woman walking down a Tokyo street, and a golden retriever playing in the snow. This initial release stunned the technology sector. It transformed ordinary language into moving scenes with convincing environments, complex camera movements, and physical detail. But OpenAI framed this model, named Sora, as more than a novelty generator. The research team connected video prediction directly to physics, suggesting that teaching an artificial intelligence to simulate the physical world was a step toward general intelligence. By training the neural network on vast amounts of video data, the model learned to predict how light reflects, how liquid flows, and how objects move through three-dimensional space. This display created an immediate expectation that video generation would soon become a major entertainment category. Yet, the February reveal also widened the gap between what viewers could imagine and what a sustainable product could actually deliver. On December 9th, 2024, OpenAI transitioned Sora from a controlled demonstration to a public release. The system moved from highly curated research samples to an open web interface. But as users began testing the system, a clear boundary became visible. A powerful model can demonstrate technical capability without proving a market. The prestige of a breakthrough research paper does not translate directly into a viable business model. OpenAI now faced intense pressure to turn its technological wonder into a structured, revenue-generating product. On September 30th, 2025, OpenAI announced Sora 2. This launch represented more than simple adjustments to visual fidelity. The product strategy shifted from a raw research utility toward a consumer-facing social platform built around creation, remixing, and an algorithmic feed. In this design, the distinct layers of the platform serve specific business functions. The core Sora model functioned as the underlying generation engine. Wrapped around this engine were the standalone mobile app and web experience, which served as the consumer interfaces. Within these interfaces, the vertical feed acted as the primary mechanism for discovery and user retention, while creator tools aimed to turn individual prompts into a collaborative, remixable community. Other distribution channels operated in parallel. API access targeted developers and enterprise clients, providing a raw pipeline for third-party tools. Meanwhile, ChatGPT integrations offered a separate entry point, allowing subscribers to generate videos directly within their existing workflows, without needing the dedicated social app. The entire business strategy relied on a compounding network effect. OpenAI assumed that more users would generate more videos, that these videos would drive social sharing, and that sharing would ultimately build a durable, self-sustaining network. But a social network demands identity, human relationships, and daily habits. It cannot survive on visual spectacle alone. Relying on an algorithmic feed composed entirely of machine-generated clips to drive repeat visits was an unproven strategy, and one that carried an immense structural risk. On December 11, 2025, OpenAI and the Walt Disney Company announced a partnership that seemed to address this structural risk. By bringing together the world's most recognizable intellectual property and the leading generative video model, both companies made a highly calculated strategic bet. For Disney, The agreement offered a direct path to understanding how audiences might interact with generative entertainment. It was a proactive move to engage younger demographics and explore AI-assisted experiences, shielding the entertainment giant from passive disruption by outside technology platforms. Most of all, it allowed Disney to explore these frontiers while retaining control over how its intellectual property was represented. OpenAI, meanwhile, needed premium, licensed content to differentiate Sora from a growing field of generic video generators. Partnering with Disney provided immediate institutional legitimacy, a massive distribution pipeline, and concrete evidence that its technology could mature into a commercial entertainment platform. The official package outlined a 3-year licensing agreement. Under these terms, OpenAI gained access to more than 200 characters from the Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars libraries. The plans went past basic user tools. Selected Sora-generated videos were slated for distribution on Disney+, turning the platform into a direct content pipeline. Concurrently, Disney became a major OpenAI customer, planning to integrate OpenAI APIs and ChatGPT-related tools across its internal businesses. The financial arrangement was equally massive, featuring a planned $1 billion equity investment from Disney, along with additional warrants. At the time of the announcement, the alliance looked entirely rational. It combined Disney's unmatched narrative assets with OpenAI's technical capabilities, instantly transforming the unproven video app into a multi-billion-dollar industrial promise. A social platform built around user-generated video rewards, speed, creative freedom, recognizable identity, and permissive experimentation. To go viral, creators need to remix, subvert, and publish instantly. But when premium corporate intellectual property meets this environment, those open mechanics immediately collide with the realities of brand governance. Disney's characters required strict boundaries defining how they could be used, what users could generate, and how the resulting content would be reviewed. Under the announced licensing agreement, the permitted assets excluded actor likenesses and voice profiles. While a user might have hoped to generate a custom Star Wars scene with a photorealistic character speaking in their original voice, the system separated character access from that unrestricted creative fantasy. To enforce these boundaries, every prompt featuring licensed assets had to pass through compliance filters and moderation pipelines. These safety checks introduced a clear product friction. While no direct study proves that moderation overhead alone caused the platform's decline, analysts point to these licensing checks as a plausible source of increased latency and operational complexity. Creators had to wait for automated reviews to clear, adding friction to an experience that competed directly with instant traditional video editing. Reports from early testing circles described these creative restrictions as severely limiting. For creators, Sora occupied an awkward middle ground. It was too heavily restricted to support a vibrant, chaotic remix culture, yet still too unpredictable to guarantee the absolute safety demanded by a premium brand. Disney's characters could easily capture initial public attention, but famous faces alone could not establish user retention, network effects, or daily habits. Under these constraints, the path to building a lasting creative community remained entirely unclear. Every time a user prompts an artificial intelligence model to generate a video, a remote data center must execute a process known as Inference. For text-based applications, this process is inexpensive. A 100-word answer costs fractions of a cent. For high-definition video, however, inference becomes an immense mathematical chore. Every second of footage requires rendering complex patterns of light, motion, and geometry across thousands of frames in real time, accompanied by downstream storage, safety processing, and delivery infrastructure costs. Third-party analysts estimated that generating a single 10-second Sora clip cost roughly $1.30. Scaling this math across a global user base created highly demanding economics. External reports suggested a daily compute burn ranging from approximately $1 million to to as high as $15 million during peak activity. These estimates, calculated by outside firms using assumptions about hardware efficiency and daily clip volume, are back-of-the-envelope calculations rather than audited financial figures or OpenAI confirmed accounts, but they outline the sheer scale of the operational pressure. Against these massive operating costs, Sora's actual financial returns were modest. App Analytics estimated the platform's lifetime in-app revenue at just over $2 million. This created a difficult paradox. More users might have increased visibility, but more generations also multiplied the compute expense before any sustainable monetization was established. This cash drain forced a harder look at how OpenAI allocated its engineering attention and hardware. Graphics processing units, the chips that power modern artificial intelligence, are a strictly finite resource. Every processor dedicated to rendering disposable social clips was a processor unavailable for high-margin enterprise products. Sora actively competed for these chips with coding systems like Codex, ChatGPT Enterprise, autonomous agents, and robotics research. Retiring the consumer app was therefore a disciplined capital allocation decision, returning scarce hardware to the profitable lines that already carried clear commercial value. Third-party analytics paint a stark picture of the difference between temporary curiosity and permanent user habits. During its launch week, the standalone mobile experience drew an estimated 1 million downloads. By November 2025, cumulative installs reached over 3 million. This explosive launch gave the appearance of a massive consumer hit, but downloads only measure initial interest, not long-term utility. By early 2026, estimated active users had reportedly dropped below 500,000, with third-party reports placing day 30 retention in the single digits, near 5%. Consumer spending followed a similar downward trajectory. Monthly in-app revenue peaked at an estimated $540,000 before sliding toward $367,000, leaving total lifetime revenue at just over $2 million. On creative forums, the prevailing sentiment became a quiet exit. Users tried the generator once and never returned. They questioned the value of an algorithmic feed filled with disposable, machine-generated clips that lacked human relationships, real creators, or shared community. This pattern exposed a sharp structural gap compared to other business models in the space. While Runway succeeded by embedding generation into creative suites, Kling offered low-cost creator subscriptions, and Google Veo focused on enterprise API distribution. Meanwhile, platforms like ByteDance's Cdance leveraged native distribution on TikTok, and Adobe built tools directly into existing design software. Sora remained isolated as an unproven social experiment. When the shutdown was announced, the handful of independent creators who had built modest audiences on Sora began migrating their workflows to these alternative platforms. The alliance had failed to recognize a fundamental product reality. Disney and OpenAI's corporate confidence had validated each other, creating the illusion of an inevitable platform before actual users had supplied any durable behavior. On March 24, 2026, OpenAI publicly announced the discontinuation of the Sora consumer platform. This operational decision came directly from OpenAI, leaving Disney to manage the immediate consequences of a cancelled product rather than having ordered or caused the shutdown. The platform's removal unfolded in distinct, irreversible phases, demonstrating that Sora was composed of separate product layers with different operational lifespans. The first phase targeted the consumer experience. On April 26, 2026, OpenAI took the web portal and mobile application completely offline, ending the short-form social experiment and forcing users to salvage their remaining files before permanent deletion. The second phase dismantled the developer ecosystem, with the public API scheduled for a final sunset on September 24, 2026. This staggered timeline gave enterprise clients a 6-month window to migrate their workflows to alternative platforms. In its official communication, OpenAI attributed the closure to rising compute demands and a strategic requirement to refocus on core products. Alongside these statements, independent analyses pointed to a collapsing active user base and unsustainable unit economics. But while the consumer interface died, the underlying technology survived. OpenAI noted that the research team would continue using the core models to study world simulation and robotics, keeping the foundational science separate from the failed consumer application. The abruptness of the exit created an immediate strain on the Disney alliance. Reports indicated that Disney executives learned of the shutdown less than an hour before the public announcement on X. While OpenAI's decision to reallocate expensive GPU clusters to higher-margin business tools was economically rational, this rapid execution left no room to transition joint initiatives, transforming a calculated corporate retreat into a clear communication failure. The cancellation of Sora left a stark ledger of hidden costs that went far past disabled servers and inactive code. For OpenAI, the heaviest toll was opportunity cost. Every graphics processing unit dedicated to rendering short social media clips was a processor unavailable for high-margin enterprise products. By ending the consumer experiment, the company could immediately redirect these scarce chips and engineering teams toward coding systems, enterprise tools, and robotics research. Meanwhile, the high-profile strategic narrative crumbled. Reports indicate that Disney's planned $1 billion equity investment in OpenAI never actually closed, and no investment funds changed hands. Disney did not lose $1 billion. Instead, the loss was one of strategic momentum. The company's planned character rollouts, Disney Plus distribution schedules, and related Sora initiatives were abruptly left without a platform. Creators who had spent months building small audiences around Sora had to archive their assets and migrate to competing services like Runway or Google's Veo. While this episode did not destroy Disney's broader AI strategy, it shattered the sense of inevitability that had surrounded its tech partnerships. The true strategic failure was not the final decision to reallocate resources, which remains a defensible business move, but rather allowing a massive corporate commitment to grow so large before the underlying product had ever been validated by actual user behavior. Ultimately, Sora vanished because of an unresolved mismatch between the staggering cost of generative computing and the actual value consumers were willing to return. Today, the era of speculative AI hype is yielding to cold economic reality. Sora's collapse proves that even the world's most powerful corporations cannot substitute spectacle for genuine user utility. As generative models mature, the industry must pivot from producing disposable content to building sustainable value. The illusion of inevitability has shattered. What do you think this means for the future? Share your thoughts below.